Hey kids. So today I just wanted to go through one more review with you on area model for multiplication and standard algorithm for multiplication. And this is preparing us for our work because tomorrow we are going to be learning the lattice method, which will be the third and final strategy for solving multiplication equations. And then beginning after that, we are going to learn the inverse check for multiplication, which is division. And I know a lot of you are really excited about getting started with division. So let's end our official multiplication really strong so that we can do that. So it's really important when we start with area model to remember the word area. And if we remember when we were working with area and we were working with perimeter, which we will continue to do, area was about what is inside our box. And remember, perimeter is about the line that goes around our box, right? Perimeter. Perimeter is where we add. Area is our multiplication. So that's why the area model actually uses a box, because we're talking about the area with inside the box, or how big that area would be. So we are going to take a double-digit multiplication equation and we are going to solve it both in the area model, and then we'll solve it a second time using the standard algorithm. You can choose either strategy to solve a multiplication problem. Again, it's not about how we get there, it's making sure that we do get there. So we are going to start, and I'm going to use some less friendly numbers because I know sometimes it can be a little nerve-wracking when you see a lot of 9s or 7s or 6s. But I want to show you that the size of the number does not change the steps that we will take. Okay, so don't be afraid of those big numbers. So the equation that we are going to look at for this lesson is we are going to do 65, and we're going to multiply that to 48, okay? Nice big numbers. We've got 6, 5s are good. We've got this 8, okay? And I'm writing it here in the middle so that it's easier for when I go to standard algorithm. So let's begin. Step 1, do you remember? I'm going to rewrite my equation here. Do you remember the first step of doing an area model? Good job. Yeah, that's right. We're going to always start our area model with expanded form. Okay, so what is 65 when we put it in expanded form? That means, remember, expanded form, breaking it into its place value positions. So we have 65. And when we say the number, it tells us how to write it. So 65, so 65. And then, of course, you have to add 5 and 60 to get the 65. And we'll do the same thing with 48. We have 40. And we add to that the 8. So again, we're just breaking it down into its place value parts. And we learned how to do this way at the beginning of the year. So if you have forgotten that, just remember that's what it is, breaking it into its individual place value positions. So now that we've done that, we are going to go ahead and we're going to draw our area model box. And it doesn't need to be a huge box, remember, it just needs to be big enough that we can write our math in it in a way that is easy to read and clear. So we take our top number and we put it on top, remember, top to top. So we're going to write our 60 plus 5 up here, but we're going to give it a little bit of room, remember, because this first box always is going to have the biggest numbers in it. And then on the side, we do our second one, our 40. And then we add to that the 8. Okay, and we remember wherever we have a plus sign, we're going to draw our lines right there. So our box is almost always going to have the biggest square up here at the top right, left-hand corner, and the smallest square will be at the bottom right-hand corner. So let's go ahead and fill it in. Now, everything here in the box, that is our area. Okay, that's why this is the area model. That's why it's so cool. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to write our equations, but remember, always start with the left-hand side. So we will go with 40 times 60 equals. Remember, the dot means to multiply. Now, we talked a lot about the power of 10 when we did small groups. And so we know with the power of 10, a much quicker and simpler way of multiplying these huge numbers when they have zeros at the ending because of their place value. We know we can multiply the two numbers that are not zeros. That's the 4 and the 6. So when we multiply 4 and 6, we get 24. Now, because of the power of 10, I can take the two zeros I have, and I'm simply going to put my two zeros there. And now we're going to move on to the bottom one, and this is 8 times 60. Again, I'm going to multiply the numbers that are not the zero, and this only works when a number ends in 0. Okay, it doesn't work if the 0 is somewhere else in the number, only at the end. So 8 times 6, that is 48. And we have 1 0, so we put it in right there. Because 8 times 60 is 480. This is just a simpler way of doing that, especially if these bigger numbers kind of get to you a little bit. We're going to fill in this box. This is going to be 40 times 5. Again, we have that ending 0, so we can go 4 times 5 is 20. And we have that 1 0, so I'm going to put it right there back in. And then we simply have 8 times 5 down here, and we get 40. Are you keeping up? How are you doing so far? Great. Okay, so now we're going to take the answers that we got in these boxes, and we are going to add them below the box. So I'm going to take this 2,400 or 2,400, and I'm going to add my 480 to it. So 480. And when I add them together, I have 0, 8, 8, 2. So my answer for that one is 2,880. Now I'm going to come to this row, and I'm going to do 200, and I'm going to add the 40 plus my 40. And when I add 240, I get 240. Now I'm still not done, okay? I got my addition going down, but now I have to get my addition going across. And so I take these two numbers and I'm going to add them together, okay? And I'm going to move this up. So now we have 2,880, and I'm going to add 240. Now notice, as I do all of this addition and multiplication, I am keeping my place values very straight and lined up. That is a really important step in doing multiplication correctly. So now we'll go ahead and we'll add these up, keeping our place values together. So we get 0, 8 plus 4 is 12, and we carry that 1. 8 plus 2 is 10, plus the 1 we carried is 11. We'll carry that again, and then 1 plus 2 is 3. And then I know to go 1, 2, 3, comma. Now we are still not done, are we? No, no. What do we have to do? Yeah, we have to take our final answer and we need to put it back with our original equation up here. So again, I'm still going to keep my place values lined up. So I'm going to write my answer in here, and I'm going to make sure I'm writing the right answer. You don't want to miss it because you wrote down something weird. And then I know it's my final answer when it is circled. Okay, so by doing the area model, we have said that 65 times 48 is 3,120. Now we're going to come over to this other side and we are going to do the same problem, but we're going to do it in the standard algorithm, meaning a regular old multiplication problem the way your parents and your grandparents all did it. Okay, so here we go. Here is the standard algorithm. I'm going to take my 65 and I'm going to multiply my 48 to it. And you'll notice with the standard algorithm, I am going to be writing my numbers larger. Okay, and this is just going to help show you each of the steps. Okay, so I am not color coding it this time. All right, we've done color coding for a while. And so by now you should be able to follow along with the steps I'm taking. If that still gives you trouble, don't worry. The standard algorithm does take a lot of practice. So here we go. We know we have to multiply each of the digits in the bottom number by each of the digits in the top number. Okay, so when we look at all of this together, it's going to be 8 times 5 and 8 times 6 and 4 times 5 and 4 times 6. All right, so let's start. We're starting in the ones position. So 8 times 5. We go up and then across and then up. So 8 times 5 is 40. So I'm going to put a 0 there. And I'm going to put plus 4. I'm carrying that 4 over to my tens place. Now I'm going to go 8 times 6. 8 times 6 is 48. Plus 4 is 52. So I'm going to write down my 52. Awesome. Well, now that I'm done with my 8, I'm not going to multiply it anymore. So I'm going to go ahead and cross out my 8. I don't want to forget that I've already used that one. And I have no more ones to multiply in that bottom number. Okay. So now I'm going to the 4. Now remember, this 4 actually means 40. And it is in the tens position. That's why we will write our first number in the tens position. It falls right under what we are multiplying. So we're going to do the same thing. 4 times 5 is 20. So I put down the 0 for the 20 and I carry my 2, right? And now 4 times 6 is 24 plus 2 is 26. So I'm going to put that here, 26. And now I'm going to add all of this together. Okay, so 0 and 0 equals 0. 2 plus 0 equals 2. 5 plus 6 is 11. And I'm going to carry that. And 1 plus 2 is 3. And I know 1, 2, 3. And I circle it because it is now my final answer. And when I look and I compare my two answers, 3,120, 3,120. And that is how you do area model and the standard algorithm. I would recommend that if you are still struggling with this, just repeat this video, write it down with me, and practice along with me. So now you are going to do a practice on your own, okay? So after we get this set up, I want you to work out the problem. Then I want you to start the video back up, and I want you to check your work, see how you did. So on this next page, we are going to, and you can choose whichever method you prefer. You can do area model, you can do standard algorithm. It is your choice. So the problem that we are going to do, again, I'm going to use big numbers because we have to learn to not be afraid of them. So this time I'm going to do 59. And this time I'm going to multiply it to 63. Nice big numbers. We're not going to be afraid of them. Okay, so now you are going to choose whether you do the area model or whether you do the standard algorithm. Pause the video, solve the problem, and once you've solved it, start the video again. So now that you've worked out the problem, did you arrive at the correct answer? Which method did you use? Did you use the area model, or did you use the standard algorithm? Whichever one you did choose, keep practicing. You need to be really strong in at least one of the multiplication methods. It doesn't matter which one you choose, but whichever one you do choose, work hard at really learning it. The next thing we want to talk about is factors. So when we talk about factors, one of the things that might help you remember what a factor is and what the product is, which is the answer to a multiplication problem, I want you to think of it like a factory, okay? A factory creates products, right? So if this was like Mrs. Baird's bread, that's a factory. This is a factory I used to live by in Texas. And their factory their product was bread. So they put the ingredients together in the factory and out came the product of bread. And it works the same way with multiplication. Your factors are the ingredients that the factory is putting together, and the answer is the product. So if you were ever confused about what a factor is, just remember, factories produce products. That means numbers multiplied together give you a product or a multiplication answer. So let's remember factors. So there are two numbers, typically digits, but they can be actual numbers, multiple digit, that when you multiply them together, you get a different number. So we're going to go over a few. Let's start with the number 8. Okay, and we're going to draw a factor tree. And the number is like the top of the tree. Okay, it's almost like the star. So what two numbers can we multiply to get 8? Well, one of the ways I like to do factors is I like to make it easier for myself. So 8 is going to be the biggest number. So I'm going to stop at 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. No number larger than 8 can be used in this, right? Because the biggest number that it can be is 8. So 1 times 8 is 8. Now 2 times what is 8? Yeah, 4. 2 times 4 is 8. Can we multiply 3 by anything to get 8? No, we can't. Okay. 4. 4 times what is 8? Yeah, 2. And because of the commutative property, 2 times 4 is the exact same thing as 4 times 2. We also see that in addition. Can I multiply anything to 5 to get 8? No. How about 6? No. 7? No. What about 8? Yeah, I can multiply it by 1. Okay, now when we talk about factors, it's really important to know that every single number has a factor of 1. So when we talk about factors that they share, we're never talking about the number 1 because all numbers share a factor of 1 because it's the identity property, meaning anything multiplied by 1 is going to be itself. Think of it this way. That 1 is like a mirror, right? Here's the big mirror, and the 8 is looking in the mirror. And what would the 8 see if it looked in the mirror? That's right, it'd see itself. That's why it's called the identity property. Let's look at another number. Why don't we do the number 12? Let's make our little factor tree. Okay, so again, I'm going to only go up to number 10. Typically, you'll have already gotten them all by then. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Actually, I'm going to stop at 9 because I know 10 is not going to be one of them because it's 12. So 1 times 12 is 12. What can I multiply by 2 to get 12? Yes, 6. Now, what can I multiply 3 to get 12? 4. Good job. What would I multiply to 4 to get 12? That's right, it's 3. It's that what property? Commutative. Very good. Can I multiply 5 by anything to get 12? Nope. Can I multiply 6 by something to get 12? Yeah, I can multiply it by 2. Just like 2 times 6, commutative property. Can I multiply 7 by anything to get 12? Nope. What about 8? No way. And 9? Nah. Okay. So now we have the factors in a factor tree for the product 8, and the product 12 is made by these factors. So when we put them all together, we ask the question, what factors do they share? That means which ones are the same over here as over here. Now remember, we don't count the number 1 because of that identity property. We already know all of them have 1, so we don't worry about that. So I'm just going to go down the list and I'm going to go, okay, 2. Does this have a 2? Oh, you know what? It sure does. So I'm going to circle those 2s. Okay, I'm going to come down to 3. Well, I don't have 3 in this one, so I'm going to skip it. What about 4? I'm going to come over here and go, oh yeah, hey, 4 is right here. And 4 is also right there. Oh, look, and 2. Oh my gosh, all of these factors. There's 4 there and there's a 2. Okay. Now I don't have a 5, 6, or 7, so none of those are going to be shared. What about 8? Well, if I come over up, there's note 8 over here. So I'm done. So the factors that 8 and 12 share are 2 and 4. Good job. Let's try just one more. So I'm going to move this up and we're going to do this again. Okay, and this time I'm going to use the numbers 15 and we will also use the number 30. Okay, so we're going to make our tree, right? They're going to be the stars on our tree. These are our products. So we're going to break them back down into the factors or the ingredients that make the product from the factory. So I'm going to do my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, here we go. 1 times what gives us 15? That's right, 1 times 15. 2 times what gives us 15? Yeah, nothing, because 2 times 7 is 14. What about 3? Yeah, 3 times 5 is 15. Now what about 4? Well, no, because 4 times 4 is 16, so it's not going to work. What about 5? Yeah, we already did it right here because of commutative property. 5 times 3. What about 6? No, that's not 1. Okay, what about 7? No, again, 7 times 2 is 14, so that's not going to work. What about 8? Nope, 8 times 2 is 16, so that's going to be weird. And what about 9? Nope, there's no way to get there. Okay, so we have our factors listed out for 15. Now, let's go to 30. So again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. 1 times what will give us 30? 1 times 30. Good job. Identity property, looking at itself in a mirror. Okay, what about 2? What can I multiply by 2 to get 30? Remember, when you multiply by 2, it's saying the number plus itself, right? So what would it be? Yeah, that's a big one. 15. 2 times 15. What can I multiply by 3 to get 30? 10. Good job. What about 4? No, I can't use 4 because I know 4 times 7 is 28 and there's not 7 more to go. What about 5? Yeah, 5 times 6. So then what about 6? 6 times 5. And what property is that? Commutative. Commutative. The commutative property. All right. And what about with the number 1? Yeah, I'm going to put it over here. This is the identity property. All right, look at you smart guys. Okay, what about 7? No, 7 times 4 is 28 and 7 times 5 is 35. What about 8? Nope, it goes from 24 to 32. What about 9? Now it goes from 27 to 36. Okay, we have all of our factors listed out for our products. So let's see which ones they share. Again, in the identity property, all numbers share the factor of 1. So we ignore that. So I'm going to come down and there's no 2, so I don't have to worry about that. But there's a 3. And if I come over, I look and I can see they both have 3s. And this one, in fact, has 2 3s. Okay. So now we're going to look at the next one. I have no 4, so I don't have to worry about that. But what about the 5? Does it share any with 30? It sure does. So I'm going to circle it here, and I've got my 5 there. Oh, and look, commutative property, so I have another 5. Okay, we're still not done though, because even though I've done these, I've got a 5 here too. One of the numbers I haven't done is 15. Okay, so I already know 1. 2 is not 1 because there's no 2. We got 3, no 4 and 5. There is a 6. But see, I don't have 6 over here, so I don't have to keep going because there's no 7, 8, or 9. When I come to this side, there is no 30, so that's not 1. But I see that I have 15 as a factor. So I'm going to circle 15. And then the only other one left is 10, and that's not shared. So the factors that are shared between 15 and 30 are 3, 5, and 15. And that is how you do factors. So let's remember, when we're talking about factors, we can think about a factory creating products, okay? And so these are the factors, these are the ingredients used in our factory, and these are the products that these factors make. Good job. Way to remember your math and to work hard. Remember, area model and standard algorithm. Choose the one that feels most comfortable to you, and then practice, practice, practice until that one is so easy for you, you can't believe you ever had to learn it because you just know it so well. Good job today, guys.